Hi, I'm Scott Jensen, former Assembly Speaker.
And I'm Chuck Chvala, former Senate Majority Leader.
And we're the Insiders. This week, we're going to take a look at the race for Lieutenant Governor. A number of people have signed up to run for the office. Chuck, does it matter?
No. Short answer is no. Whoever is voting in the gubernatorial election is voting for a governor. They really don't look at who the lieutenant governor is. Sometimes, and you hope for people who can turn out different elements of your base. That applies for both Republicans and Democrats. But what I think is important about the lieutenant governor's race is who's running for this? All of these people running for US Senate on the Democratic side. The smartest person in the world would be the person who dropped out of that race and ran for lieutenant governor and said, this is going to get me to be governor. Because if Tony Evers is reelected, he's very unlikely to run for another 4-year term. And almost all these lieutenant governors or vice presidents get either to be president or governor, or they get to be at least the nominee of the party. And you can see that in Wisconsin. Tommy Thompson hangs around for a long time. Eventually, Scott McCallum becomes governor. Barbara Lawton gets to run for governor after Jim Dole. The lieutenant governors really get a shot. Marty Schreiber took over when Pat Lucy left. So this is the pathway to real power. To be a one of 100 in the U.S. Senate, what do you get to do? But to be a governor and to run a state and be able to actually make a difference on issues like education, healthcare, transportation, so many things, that's where people should be, and yet they aren't. So you do have some people on the Democratic side who are jumping into the race. I think you'll see more. But frankly, I am surprised that more savvy politicians haven't decided to run for lieutenant governor because it is their opportunity. And of course, once they win the primary, then it's just a matter of whether the person ahead of them is able to pull it off or not. That's what I see that's significant about the lieutenant governor's race.
Well, I think there's two things that are significant. First of all, it is jam-packed on the Republican side of the aisle. Everybody's running for it, and anybody who's not running for it is thinking about running for it. There was a newspaper story the other day that suggested more than a dozen people are thinking about running for the Republican nomination for lieutenant governor. And so far, just one person running for lieutenant governor on the Democratic side. I think that says something about who thinks their team is going to win in the general election for governor. Tony Evers is amazingly known for months now that he wasn't going to have his lieutenant governor running for re-election with him. No one seems to want to be on his ticket other than Lena Taylor, which is fascinating because Lena Taylor is a longtime critic of Governor Evers. So I think that all is very fascinating. That would make quite an interesting ticket there. I think you're right. Someone else will probably choose to run, and probably smart for someone who's not getting traction in that U.S. Senate race to consider moving over to look at the lieutenant governor's race. I will agree with you that it does matter. I would agree with you that being lieutenant governor is a great launching pad for other things. We've had 2 lieutenant governors in my lifetime become governor by resignation from the office of the governor. But we've also had a lot of lieutenant governors run for other offices. Right now, the Republican frontrunner for governor is Rebecca Kleefisch, former lieutenant governor. The Democratic frontrunner for United States Senate is Mandela Barnes, former lieutenant governor. So it is a great place to make connections across the state, to build a network, to build a donor system, to learn the issues. And it's not uncommon for those people to go on and do other things. So I think the race does matter. And I find it fascinating that not many people seem to want to be on Tony Evers' ticket.
But it does not matter. The reason I said no, it does not matter as to who's going to be the next governor for the state of Wisconsin. It matters for that person who will be lieutenant governor, who might be the governor down the road, or who might run for something else, as Rebecca Kleefisch has done for governor eventually in the future. But as far as the impact on the race for governor this coming time, it won't matter. Now, Lena Taylor has graciously and I think appropriately said she can't wait to be there for Governor Evers and be part of his team. And I think that's a great thing to do. And Lena is actually a pretty motivating figure in the Milwaukee Black community. And so she might add a few votes here and there. But by and large, governors are going to win or lose on the merits of their own positions. And people would be very hard pressed, the vast majority of them, to name anyone who's a lieutenant governor. But it is good for those people going forward. I think what's going to happen is you're going to see a much more crowded race on the Democratic side. as you're seeing already on the Republican side. And then I think you're going to see, again, another 50-50 race next year. But I think at the end of the day, you're going to see that Governor Evers will prevail pretty much whoever is his lieutenant governor. And Rebecca Clayfish, if she is the nominee, and that's no certain thing at all right now, if she's the nominee, she will have the same situation. Or Kevin Nicholson, if Ron Johnson decides to run for U.S. Senate and not get out of the race. It looks like Nicholson will be the other candidate on the Republican side. So I think it's going to be interesting. There are a lot of pieces yet to be put in place in the puzzle. And frankly, the only fixture that we know of right now is that Tony Evers will be the nominee of the Democratic Party next year and will be the candidate for governor in the fall.
There's more to come. We'll see you next week.